Hello guys, welcome back to another Delta Fleet Flight School video. Today we are in the Razorbill learning how to destroy the Needlefish. Now as you can tell by looking at the screen here, we are going to be fighting against a Needlefish with a Sea-Wiz turret and an AA missile turret. So first we'll learn how to use torpedoes to destroy this ship. Now this is going to be fairly easy because this Needlefish doesn't have a torpedo weapon slot. And a torpedo weapon slot allows enemy needlefish and swordfish to send out noisemakers, which can block torpedoes. So if we're fighting against a needlefish that doesn't have a torpedo weapon station, then this torpedo's almost guaranteed hit every single time, except in the rare circumstance where the needlefish jumps over a wave just as the torpedo passes underneath, which is always a possibility when fighting this guy. Needlefish are very small, very agile, and extremely fast, much faster than the swordfish. So with the torpedo, we are going to stay out of this needlefish's AA engagement range, and that range for us is going to be 4,000 meters or 4 kilometers. So, to give this torpedo the best chance of hitting, let's close until we're just outside of 4 kilometers. And you can tell, if you look very closely at the screen, this needlefish is moving very slowly from right to left. So we're going to aim our torpedo slightly left of our target. And now we're at 4.4 kilometers. Let's get lower to the water, because the torpedo timer activates the moment it is released from our aircraft, and that's going to be a 60-second timer. And 60 seconds on a torpedo, and you can do the math on this, that goes 52 meters per second, means that under calm currents and with very little outside influence, the torpedo will travel approximately, let's say, I don't know, I'll just put the number on the screen and show the math here. But that's how far the torpedo is going to travel before arming itself. Now, we can turn around and see we have not entered that AA missile engagement range, and our torpedo is on the way. So, let's get out of this screen and look over here. Our Razorbill is returning to the previous waypoint. Our torpedo is on track, and it is set to activate in 23 seconds. So let's watch it here. Alright, and now that torpedo has activated, it is tracking the needlefish as a target. And it's important to remember it only takes one torpedo to destroy a needlefish. Unlike the needlefish, it takes 2 torpedoes to kill a swordfish, but we'll cover destroying swordfish in the next video. And here is the impact. Boom, needlefish destroyed. Now let's take a look at using some other weapons. This time we will be using the rocket pod to attack the enemy needlefish, and this will be a more difficult attack than with the torpedoes against this specific ship, because we are going to be flying very close to the ship for this attack run, and it has a Sea-Wiz turret on it, and Sea-Wiz turrets are extremely dangerous to the Razorbill. But they have a very limited engagement range of only 1 kilometer. So the way we're going to attack this ship is we're going to climb above it so that we're firing down from an altitude higher than 1 kilometer. Now the AA missile is going to fire at us when we get within 4 kilometers of our target, but we have flares, so as long as we flare in time, that missile should not bother us at all. And once that missile fires, there's typically a 60-second timer that starts until the next missile is fired. So we're reaching max altitude now. Let's throttle down a little bit and lean forward. Yep, there's our stall warning, so we're gonna lose airspeed, and there's the missile launch. So now let's drop our flares. And let's separate from where our flares are so we have no danger of getting hit by that missile. And now the main goal is to stay outside of 1 kilometer. Now rockets are extremely inaccurate and tend to spread out when you fire them. They also travel very quickly, but still you will have to lead your target. So now we're directly above the ship. Let's fire some rockets. Okay, those rockets missed. Let's try again. Oh man, that rocket was terrible. Oh, we got 2 hits, and there we go. All it takes is 2 successful rocket hits to destroy a needlefish. And if you have a lot of rockets on board and rocket pods, this is the most consistent way that I've found to destroy ships, no matter what types of weapons they have. And as long as you're careful and stay outside of that 1 kilometer CWIS engagement range, then you should be just fine. Alright, now let's take a look at a different weapon. This time, let's see how to use IR missiles to destroy a needlefish. It takes 2 IR missiles to kill a needlefish and 3 IR missiles to kill a swordfish. Now, we're going to close the distance to get really close, because the needlefish can, in fact, dodge IR missiles. The IR missile is a very slow missile, and the needlefish is a very fast boat, which means occasionally the needlefish can jump above missiles, it can get out of the way at the last second, it can get blocked by a wave. So you always want to release IR missiles close to needlefish. And the needlefish always has a blind spot above and behind where the CWIS cannot turn around and shoot you. So we're going to approach the needlefish from behind and stay outside of its 1 kilometer engagement range until we are in a safe zone. I'm setting my flares to auto in case it takes longer than the reload time of the missile to engage this target. And let's get in closer. We're going to close to about 300 meters before we release this missile because we really want to make sure we do not miss. Okay, 300 meters, let's fire. And there we go. That's the kill. Now let's look at a different method where we try a bit of a more aggressive and more dangerous approach. So this time we are going to try a head-on attack. We're going to approach the CWIS at close range with the Razorbill and get its attention so that the missiles can fly past the CWIS turret and hit the ship. The only downside to this is that the CWIS will be shooting the Razorbill instead of the missiles, and because of that we're going to have to do some tricky piloting to not get shot down. So we release the flares after the missile is fired at 4 kilometers, and this is a much faster method, although more risky, but if you're pressed for time, it might be the better of the 2 choices. To dodge CWIS in the Razorbill, all you have to do is just fly sideways at full power. So we're going to wait for the CWIS to begin shooting at that Razorbill. At 1 kilometer, it should open up on us. There's 1 kilometer, and the CWIS is engaging us. So now we're flying sideways. We're going to trust the aircraft. We're watching it, and the missiles hit. And there we go. We're going to recover now, so we don't lose too much altitude, and we're safe. Ooh, that was risky, but effective. This time, we are going to use the light bomb to destroy the needlefish. And we're only going to use 1 light bomb, because that's all it takes. It only takes 1 light bomb to destroy a needlefish, but it takes 2 light bombs to destroy a swordfish. And don't worry, we'll cover how to attack swordfish with Razorbill in the next episode. Now, just like before, we're going to close at 4 kilometers. The missile will be fired at us, so there's the missile. And now let's drop flares and strafe to the right. Okay, missile dodged. Let's set our flares to auto mode now. And this needlefish is incredibly fast. Not this one in particular, but just all needlefish are very fast and can be very difficult to hit because of just how small the needlefish is. Other bombs like the medium bomb and large bomb have a larger blast radius, making this easier, but in most competitive tournaments with a default starting loadout on the carrier, you will have 10 light bombs to start with. So light bombs can, in most cases, be the fastest, most effective way to destroy enemy ships in the first few minutes of the game. So we're dropping that bomb and getting out of the way so that the CWIS doesn't target us. Covering. Oh, and that's a miss. So let's turn around and come back for another pass. Again, we're staying behind the CWIS. And we're dropping that bomb. Let's see if it hits. There we go. That's a direct hit. And it took 2 tries, but That's normal. It is very difficult to destroy needlefish with light bombs. Now let's try another more unconventional weapon. So what we have here is two 20mm autocannons, the same weapons we use for destroying ground vehicles on islands during an island capture. Now, it may be surprising, but these two autocannons have enough ammunition that if you get close enough and you're accurate enough, you can easily destroy a needlefish. At 4 kilometers, there's the missile launch on us. We're going to drop our flares and dodge to the side. Missile defeated, and now let's get in close. And we need to be very close so that our bullets actually hit the ship. If they hit the water next to the ship, it's not going to do any damage. And all of this must be done in the blind spot of the Sea Whiz. If the Sea Whiz is able to target us, we are dead. That Sea Whiz turret can easily shred a Razorbill to pieces in less than a second. So it's very important that we fly precisely behind the ship. So now we're closing. We can even press the T key to get a little aiming reticle. It helps a little bit, but because we're so close to the ship, we can pretty much just aim straight at it, and it's an almost guaranteed hit. So now, let's start opening fire. And just like that, the ship is dead. Now let's wrap things up with a nice little surprise. Here we have a Razorbill with two AA missiles, air-to-air missiles. And these missiles can be treated basically the same as rockets. As long as there are no other aircraft in the air, enemy aircraft, these missiles will just travel in a straight line wherever you fire them. And they do the same amount of damage as an IR missile when fighting needlefish. So if you're able to get two of them to hit the needlefish, then you can destroy it, just as if you were using IR missiles. Except it's a little bit easier to use an AA missile because they travel much faster than the IR missile. So you don't have to get as close to the ship to make sure that you can guarantee it hits the target. But we're still going to have to fly in the blind spot of the Sea Whiz to make sure our missiles don't get intercepted. So here we are. We are above and behind the ship. We're turning our IR countermeasures to auto mode and diving in, getting our aiming reticle right on top of the ship, and boom! There we go. Needlefish destroyed. I hope you liked the video, and make sure to watch the next one on all of the different ways a Razorbill can destroy a swordfish, and I think you will be surprised.